G'day, David Coulthard's taken a dig at Logan Sargeant. Turns out it should have been at Alex Albon. Now you may have seen this video from last race.
Any idea which Mercedes engine-powered driver this car could belong to? Yep, you're right, Logan Sargeant. Making contact without even being on track.
Well, that was not Logan Sargeant's car. That was Alex Albon's car. And I know that for a fact. I've had a chat with his trainer, Elias Hooten, and Logan Sargeant about this. Logan was driving a black Mercedes. Alex was driving this white one. When I came in this morning, I did mention to him that he'd been unfairly dealt with there, and he just laughed it off, saying, yeah, I cop it all for the team, something along that lines. He was very good-natured about it, but I think if I was him, I'd be a little disappointed, perhaps a lot disappointed, because, yeah, he's having a rough trot, and to be lumbered with something like that from a well-respected journalist, a lot of people would have believed that. I think David's probably been given wrong information. I can't see him making that up. It's sad for Logan because he's a great bloke under a lot of pressure at the moment. So if we go back to the actual incident, that car being the second of the two Mercedes being driven by both of those Williams drivers was Alex Albon's, and it wasn't his trainer Patrick Harding driving the car, that was Alex. I did have a laugh with Logan's trainer saying that perhaps we should get one of these barriers and put it right up next to Lewis's car, Orlando's car, and then send that picture to David for him to comment on. Look, I kind of think that once David gets wind of this, and perhaps he has already, he might well offer Logan an apology. I think it's certainly deserved, and I'd like to think that there was no malice in David's comment. I had a chat with a German TV commentator today, and he was well aware of the story and said he might even use it on one of their broadcasts as an interesting item. Now, moving on, what about these new shirts for the Ferrari drivers? Carlos came in a light blue shirt, but then was handed one of these new shirts to celebrate the European Football Championships that are on at the moment, and got changed in the front seat of the car before getting out. I did have to laugh at some of the comments on the post, though. One in particular, please give his biceps some air. This is very tight around his arms, and something that didn't go unnoticed by his teammate Charles Leclerc, who mentioned to him, what is going on with that shirt? Perhaps it was a size too small. And this comment also put a smile on my face. I'll have a Big Mac medium combo meal, please, senor. You people are funny. Lando Norris arrived this morning in a dark outfit, a Rude t-shirt. Not rude as in offensive, but the brand Rude, which McLaren has certain collaborations with. But he's still ill. Still carrying over the effects from last race. You might remember he had a bit of a cough on Sunday in the car. Zhou Guanyu was wearing an interesting Issey Miyake jacket, but he actually came in using someone else's pass. Now this is a thing that F1 is quite strict on normally. If you come in using someone else's pass, they'll grab that pass, they'll kick you out and the person whose pass you've used. But of course, this is a driver, and a short time later that team member used Zhou's pass to get in or out, which technically could have landed him in hot water. But the powers that be tend to look away when it comes to drivers, and oftentimes they don't even bother swiping in. Many cases of drivers just simply going around the swipe gates and entering the paddock. Fashion-wise this morning, we've already mentioned a couple of drivers, but Esteban Ocon looked pretty sharp in this outfit from 1989. This is something we're going to see more and more of, drivers coming in wearing outfits like this, and for me, it had an NBA vibe from the US. He looked like a basketballer with a matching outfit on, and Lewis Hamilton, of course, was in casual clothing as well. Now, Daniel Ricciardo, you might have seen a couple of stories saying he's got a couple of races left and it'll all be over if he doesn't pull his socks up by the end of this first half of the season. I had to listen to him at the back of the garage talking to the media, and he was pretty upfront about it, saying, look, the story of me coming back to Red Bull is not enough. He's very realistic about his future. He did say that he's not driving at the moment like he's driving for his seat. He's just driving as normal. He doesn't fear being ousted. He's been in that situation before, and I thought he was very open and hoping to let his performance do the talking. Let me give you an update on what's happening down in the paddock, which is just over there. I'm sitting in the media centre, and I'll give you a tour in just a moment. The McLaren Motorhome, which was fire affected last weekend, has been sent back to the UK, and this week I thought they were going to have a marquee or a tent, but no, they brought in a motorhome, which is quite nice. It expands either side of the centre part, and while the drivers won't be getting changed in there, which would would normally happen in the bigger motorhome. They're getting changed over in the engineering area. It will house sponsors and guests, and the silver section on the side is the team's kitchen. And on the subject of motorhomes, I've just finished editing a brand new video about where the drivers stay with their motorhomes. You will find it absolutely fascinating. I was absolutely wowed at the level of comfort and the conveniences that these drivers have when they stay in their motorhomes, and they stay in a compound. So there might be 10 drivers and their entourages staying with them. It's a real social scene, but more on that coming up next week. A couple of happy faces in the paddock today. This man, Pierre Gasly, he's extended his contract with Alpine, and Lance Stroll, who's extended his with Aston Martin. In terms of beautiful tracks to look at, this and Spa are probably right up there in terms of greenery. And I love the look from this media centre on the third floor, looking up the hill. You get that huge big bull, and behind it some magnificent mountains, or are they hills? I don't know, whatever they're called, mountains or hills. Lots and lots of trees on them. And from time to time we actually get in amongst it and shoot from those trees. Right, now let's have a look around this media centre, and we have these huge screens, the likes of which we don't see at any other track. And behind me here there is seating for I'm guessing, several hundred, and at the moment it's not full, and it probably won't be full for this event. And not only do we have views behind me this way, we also have views out that window. And this is the only media centre that has a simulator here for us to play on. Not that I'm much chop on that. To give you an idea, when we come to a media centre, we have to come and report first. We get a desk, we get a tabard, and that's all numbered. We pick a seat, we get a locker, and we advise the crew behind the counter here of which practice session we want to go into the pits, and whether we want a grid pass. So for this race there's only one practice session, that is FP1 because it's sprint weekend, and I've asked for grid for both the Saturday race and the Sunday race. I've come downstairs here to the canteen, and we are served breakfast, lunch and dinner here. It's all free of charge. The food is great, it's Austrian cuisine, sometimes a little bit heavy but very tasty, and throughout the day there's also some snacks available to us. And we're certainly grateful for a quality meal, because some of the tracks, the food is quite ordinary. And behind me is a very impressive bull, not a Red Bull, but indeed an orange bull. And this is downstairs in the main lobby here at the media centre. And all the drivers have to walk this corridor underneath the track to get from the paddock to the press conference room, which they do a few times over the weekend. Oh, we had Mick Schumacher in today with his mum, Corinna, who we haven't seen since 2023 sometime, I'm guessing perhaps even in Baku. But nice to see them in today. I will be interested to see if Max Verstappen is given a fine because he was late for the press conference today due to his flight being late arriving. And of course he arrives by private, so he to a certain degree gets to determine what time he arrives, although if there's an air traffic control situation, perhaps that's out of his hands. Now, I have to go and plan my next schnitzel meal. Last night's was good, and tonight will be no different. So in the meantime, could you please hit the like button and subscribe? And for a whole lot of extra content and stuff, this is where you need to look. Thanks for watching, and stay passionate.
Kim farted.